Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we are talking about the spell Demiplane. This is, am I correct in assuming this is more than an 8th level storage locker that you can instantly summon?
Not really.
Uh-oh,
It's-
crap.
That's a pretty apt description of it, honestly.
Because I was reading through it and it's like, wow, man, this is so much better than instant summons or magic chest or no secret chest. Then I saw, wow, this is 8th level.
Yeah, I think so. Demiplane. I'm glad Demiplane exists, even though I don't think it's very good. I'm glad it exists because this is a tool. I think this should be like in the DMG. This should be something that like this is how Demiplanes work from Dungeon Masters because it's a fantasy that you can make villains sort of really encapsulate. If you want to do extra planar layers, this is a really cool way to do it. Is the villains built out this huge demiplane piece by piece over the years? This is a way for players to hypothetically do that too. But there are some spells that just aren't that effective as player spells because they take a long time because they're
Mm.
inherently difficult to sort of get to work the way they want without wildly bending the rules, which is what GMs have the liberty and privilege to do. Right? Is they can shape Demiplane into more than just the text here. I think this spell had the potential to be so cool. I think Demiplane could have been a literal way to build your own world 30 feet at a time. It would just take forever because it doesn't cost 8 level spell slots, and it's a very slow way to build it. In reality, you get a 30-foot square room that you store stuff in, and that's kind of like
Uh,
you can sometimes store people in it. That's kind of handy. But for the most part, you're right. This is a storage
All
locker. Should I read it?
right. Well, what is it? What is it exactly it does?
Okay, cast times in action. 8th level conjuration spell for sorcerers, warlocks, wizards. Has a range of 60 feet, which is, I mean, technically something. It's got a component of somatic, takes an hour. So you can do this while silenced if you really want to. You create a shadowy door on a flat surface that you can see within range. The door is large enough to allow medium creatures to pass through unhindered. When opened, the door leads to a demiplane that appears to be an empty room 30 feet in each dimension, made of wood or stone. When the spell ends, the door disappears. Any creature or objects inside the demiplane remain there trapped as the door also disappears from the other side. So you make a box, there's a door. When you cast the spell the first time, you make a box, and that box comes the door. And the door goes away after an hour, but the box stays somewhere in the planes.
Yeah.
And then you can recast the spell to get that door back. Each time you cast the spell, you can create a new demiplane or have the shadowy door connect to the demiplane you created with the previous casting of the spell. Additionally, if you know the nature and contents of a demiplane created by a casting of the spell by another creature, you can connect to that demiplane instead. Which means hypothetically, you can like get all your buddies together and everyone make their own demiplane apartment, and you can just be like, "I'm gonna go visit Joe today," and you pop over to their demiplane and be like, "What's up, bro?" And they'll be like watching the game or whatever. That's a use case for it. In a less fantastical, more fantastical, I don't know, a different setting. That's kind of cute, but not like you would probably use that more so as a way, like I said, villainous layer. You gain access to the villainous layer by learning the nature of the demiplane. You fight shadow a door to it, you enter into their entry, and now you're confronted with this extra dimensional layer. That's
All
the
right.
real use.
Question. All right. So I know my friend Ted's demiplane. I cast it. I get the door to his demiplane. He's somewhere else. Like or he's entered his demiplane from like Texas or something, and
Sure.
I'm over here in Georgia. I enter his demiplane. He's in there watching football. We finish the game and we leave together. Are we teleporting somewhere? Or are we both,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so this is a really cool element of the spell. And this is a really important element of the spell. Um, okay. Demiplanes only lead to more demiplanes. The spell demiplane can only ever take you to a demiplane, which means when you cast the spell, you create a pathway that links where you are and the demiplane. If
Yes.
you are already on the demiplane and the door goes away, you have no way to return to that original position. None. There's no way to get exact. If your door disappears, if you go to Ted's
Mhm.
and Ted's door's gone in Texas, he's been there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You putting the door there and going in, if your door goes away, you're both now just stuck on this demiplane until you go to a different demiplane.
Well, no, you have to be able to exit the demiplane at some point. I mean,
Using
if you
Demiplane
want,
it. If you don't have any other spell but Demiplane, you are on Demiplanes only.
well, all right. So, all right, you cast Demiplane. You walk in your room. The door closes behind you. You're stuck in eternity for Demiplanes.
If the so there are ways out. Plane traveling is one of the ways. So either astral projection or more likely plane shift can take you to where you need to go. I'm gonna read it again because I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah, because you create a door on the solid surface. The door leads to the Demiplane that appears in the empty room, and then the door goes away after an hour. So we talked about it prior, where we're like, oh, Demiplane's a great way to trap somebody, right? If you put someone in a Demiplane and close the door, they are there until you let them out. They are there until they do something else. They could use Demiplane to go to a different Demiplane, but there's no way for Demiplane to remember where you left from.
Right? All right. Well then, but if Ted's stuck in there, or not stuck, he did this on purpose. He knows I'm coming.
Yeah.
He entered his Demiplane from Texas. I opened a door with my Demiplane into his room.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the door's open. Huh? Well, no, I'm not going to Texas.
That's coming to you. That works too.
Well, no, that it would have to, right? We can't go to Texas because I'm opening the door from Georgia, so the door is between me and the Demiplane.
Yes, but you can also have multiple doors going to multiple Demiplanes. So like,
that's going to Demiplanes. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get Ted out.
Then Ted can only go to Georgia then.
Right. Okay, that was my question.
But you could hypothetically use this as teleportation. If you know someone else that has a Demiplane and you want to get to them, and you can contact them over a long distance, but there are a good amount of tools to do so. You can say, hey, all right, I'll Demiplane, you Demiplane, you open the doors, you cross the Demiplane, and you're at the other location, which is neat. It's sort of a workaround for long distance teleportation. I think is pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, I'm starting to warm up to this, but it's not just a storage locker. That is one thing that it is. It's also an alternative to teleportation.
That is so this method of teleportation has a lot of big asterisks, because remember, circle of teleportation exists, so you can just use those already, and it's like a third level spell. So if you want to be teleporting over to Ted, just have him make a circle of teleportation at that point.
Yeah, I'm just saying these are all uses that it has.
Technically,
it's a rope trick.
Technically, not even to hide the door. If you hide the door, it's a rope trick.
Does it have to last an hour? I guess so.
It lasts an hour. There's no other way to end it prior. I don't believe.
All right, so not a great rope trick.
No, and if you were to go in and dismiss it, you'd have to again plane shift or some other high expensive level spell to get out of it. So,
or have a friend.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. With the right party, with create food and water, conceivably you could just build your own world here, right? It's 30 feet at a time, and it's via hallways and doors and stuff. It doesn't let you make open spaces, which is kind of lame. I get that's kind of hard, but I wish you could remove the walls and just slowly expand down to a more spacious area, build your own. I'm envisioning this being Minecraft to be, where I just go in there and I get to start from nothing and just slowly craft my own exact space to live in. It's not really that. It's build your own giant palace. You could conceivably live there indefinitely. There's probably some fun plots of we found the wizard, and the wizard got too excited to cast Demiplane and didn't realize he didn't have a way out, and he locked himself in there by accident one day, and he's just been waiting for someone to come pick him up since he's been creating food and water for the last century. That could be a fun little bit. That's probably a really fun NPC to use. But
he's 3 inches deep in his own filth and crap.
No, because he just keeps casting Demiplanes and shifts that to other Demiplanes, right?
Okay.
He's got the toilet Demiplane. He's got it figured out. You have infinite Demiplanes, you just don't have the ability to get back.
Right. I don't know. This one's kind of cool, actually.
It's really cool. Again, I think this is a great little world building spell. But this isn't good, right?
Nah.
Do you practically ever cast this? Like you said, it's an dimensional storage unit.
Yeah. I probably not.
Yeah, and that's at that point it's just more Caden's Magnificent Mansion. I guess you can't go to the same mansion over and over again. Actually, I have to double check, but that's closer. You're not super into Lehman's secret chest. That's because also the chest might randomly take all your stuff forever. This stuff won't ever take all your stuff forever, which is nice.
All right. You've got when we were talking about Magnificent Mansion, I was thinking about using it as like a factory.
Mhm.
You've got your un unseen servants in there. We were talking about
Yeah.
taking raw materials and doing whatever. Like now, we recently talked about uh Animate Dead
Mhm.
and how zombies can do menial tasks. Now you've got your Demiplane
Mhm.
with you know a couple, maybe half a dozen zombies in there
Mhm.
making chairs or whatever. And yeah, when they you give them a couple days, open the door, and you've got chairs to sell.
Well, I have a pitch for you. What if we take your dumb ideas that I love so very much, and we make a single player variant of D&D where your whole bit is you play this top-down Factorio-esque simulator where you get you're budgeted by day to the number of spells you have, and you try and produce things using magic that you sell off to give you experience, to get more levels, to get more spells, to produce more things, to sell off to more people, to make more walls of stone, to build more cities, and you just slowly expand out from there.
We
That's,
got
I think,
a gold mine. We're printing our own money now.
listen, I think that is an independently very fun idea. And I think a lot of the stuff does lend itself really well to that. And it's a pretty cool concept. Again, I think that's a lot of what DMing actually is, right? Is you'll stumble down roads of being like, what if I did this with this spell? What if this person's using these unseen servants to produce gunpowder, or is mining out the mines and they replaced all of the workers with zombies? And it's like, is that immoral and unethical? They're just bodies, they're just corpses, right? You get some fun world building
The answer is
applications.
yes, Sam.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
aware.
All right.
Listen, I'm aware that it's immoral to use zombies as labor, but like that's the NPC might feel differently. That's all I'm saying, and that's a fun combo for the party to have. All of these points and questions and fun utility options have nothing to do with playing Dungeons and Dragons. Not a thing. It's world building at its finest. That's about it. And world building is kind of its own separate beast. I think Demiplane's great for world building. Costs an 8th level spell slot though. I don't want an 8th level spell slot as a storage locker. I'm gonna level with you. I don't think it does a
Yeah.
whole lot more than that.
Have to sell a lot of chairs to make that worth it.
Yep, yep. It's a really. It doesn't cost you any gold to make at least.
That's true.
Maybe this is just like your top end warehouse fantasy where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep expanding the Demiplane every single time I cast this by the day and just have an infinitely large warehouse to store my stuff. Then you can be like, we got extra inventory in the back. Where's the back? Right here, door.
All right. All right. There's other uses. It's not just a factory and storage locker. It's like you
It's a
mentioned
jail cell.
a jail cell. That's where else I was going. You can imprison somebody there.
It's a
Anything
way
to
to
say about
transport
that?
them, which is a little bit more useful than necessarily just imprison them too, right? It's a way to once you because you already have to sort of have them incapacitated. You have to have them restrained and ready to be moved. And it's more of a convenience at that point, right? Where you just go, okay, in the Demiplane you go, we'll get you when we need you, and then you don't have to deal with them for the whole duration of the time. Now they have that whole time, however long they're in the Demiplane to stew, and they're in your Demiplane. You can make a new Demiplane for them specifically to be like, now you're in the Demiplane. This is the one that's our jail cell or whatever. That's where you're specifically going to be, and then you can go about your merry. You can continue on adventuring. Make sure you feed and water them twice a day, and then that's kind of a loyal. That's honestly more of a tall order than you'd expect too, right? Because like
Yeah, because you got to cast the
usually,
spell just to feed them.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like you lose your 8th level spell slot to sort of carry them around with you in this pocket dimension. That I mean, you could probably do that every 3 days. It's a little inhumane, but we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. There's more monstrous things that we do as players. So then you can conceivably use it for that effect. I question, is that better than leaving them tied up on the barbarian's back or leaving them on the horse? Probably not. Like there are other ways that you get to keep your 8th level spell slot and imprison the person. It does help you move large groups of people. So maybe you're like smuggling in a bunch of people back to their homeland or something after they've been kicked out by a monstrous monarchy or something. Maybe you're hiding a bunch of people from certain death. You can use Demiplane as a way to do that. There'll be some niche use cases for it. Again, all those tend to be larger narrative plot stuff that you can have other relatively easy solutions to in the mundane realm. You don't need this for any of those effects, but it does do them, and that earns it some amount of points.
Yeah. Curious commenters or viewers like to know how you use the spell, because I feel like there's a lot of maybe untapped potential, or did we cover everything? I mean, it is a spell that does a thing. I feel like we've kind of milked it for quite a bit.
I think this is one of my favorite intros where you're like, this is just more than a glorified storage locker, right? Right? I actually be interested in the comments if you have any ideas for what you would do to make Demiplane more enriching as far as building your own actual world with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas because you don't want to make it like 5 pages of how to Demiplane. At the same time, I think that this spell could benefit from like extra 3 paragraphs of text that could make it a lot cooler and fun to use, even if it doesn't necessarily make it more practical.
All right. Well, I think we've reversed roles once again because I'm interested in comments about this being a playable spell and that you would use as a player in a regular game.
I think I've lost all faith that's an option.
All right. That's what I want the comments. I want to restore Sab's faith.
Please do. I do love the spell. It's just not very good.
All right. I guess that brings us to the rating time.
It can't be a 1 because there are the small niche uses of being able to like hide people, being able to transport prisoners, being able to do a small amount of niche things. It'll be a fun little adventure plot sometimes. It's probably just a 2. It's not very good. As far as 8th level spells go, it is quite bad. Like this would be bad as a 6th level spell, I think. At the same time, I can only really give 1 to things that they cease to function or are so bad they're actively hurting you, and this isn't that bad. Plus, it's really fun. I like the spell that exists. I would put some character sheets even though I'd probably like cast it twice a campaign, if that.
Yeah. Likewise, I can't give it a 4 because it's just not
bad.
that useful. But I'll give it a 3 though. I'll call it middle of the road and hope that commenters will vindicate my decision. All right. Well, that was Demiplane. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.